What's up, everybody? It is James, and I'm don't particularly do this at all, but I decided to do it today. I don't have work right now. I just switched to a trade job that works with boiler systems. Otherwise, I've mostly worked as a carpenter here in Montana, and I the truth is, I have a wide range of interest, and part of that interest is talking about a lot of different things, reaching out to a greater audience, sharing myself in a certain kind of way to perhaps share expertise, share experience, life experience, goals. Really, I think for me, it's really about coming together as a community of like minded men that have a goal to achieve their best interest in mind, or a goal to achieve their best version in mind. And so, to start off, I'm James, and I am 25 years old, and my relationships overall have been pretty minimal because from 19 to 24 years old, I mostly had a lot of traveling experience. I had a lot of spontaneous adventures. The only place I've been to out of the country is Costa Rica, but I lived there for 3 months during my travels. I bought a one-way ticket over to Costa Rica mostly because I happened to coordinate with somebody in regards to a ayahuasca internship, and my curiosity ultimately led me to Costa Rica for that very reason. Um, and I had a lot of different experiences in Costa Rica. It was a very spiritual time for me. But overall, from 19 to 24 years old, I had that experience. I lived in a Zen monastery. I lived in Slab City for a while in Southern California. Look that up if you don't know what it is. That was actually the first community that I ended up in by just getting dropped off there after deciding, you know what, this place doesn't look too bad after all, and it's just my forte. I'm gonna stay here longer and experience this magical place. And so I did. Um, And so that's a few examples there, and I have a lot of other examples. In terms of work, I really only did seasonal jobs. I did conservation work, which is working outside amongst different pristine primal environments out in nature, working on trails, getting wood off of trails, rock work on 14ers in Colorado, 14ers being around 14,000 elevation mountains. That was actually my first year of conservation work, working with Colorado 14ers Initiative through a conservation corps, and and I did a lot of other kinds of things there, but mostly trail work, working on trails, which means camping out there too, getting paid to do all of that. I did that for a few years. I led a crew in 2022. I led two different crews. We went out in the Tetons and Wind River Range in the fall season of that year. And overall, I just had a lot of interesting experiences. Um, but I think the forte, the subject of this video is about sharing a little bit of myself through those brief mention of experiences. But I say that because I've been traveling a lot, and I've always had a life of moving and relocating, and I definitely was focused more on myself, not so much others, but I really needed to focus and hone in on myself as a young man, coming away from my mother at the age of 19. And like I said, from 19 to 24 years old, it was a mission of finding myself, who I am, what this world is, where am I, what this is, stuff like that. I've always kind of been on a mission of wisdom, even in high school, very much kept to myself because wisdom demanded for that to happen. At least my mission of wisdom. Um, and I was an only child. So socially, I just was an oddball and I just didn't have much experience. And so that caught up to me now. That caught me by my tail, spun me around in the air like a basketball, and plopped me right back down on the ground. I bounced a little bit with inertia, but finally settled into this present moment that I find myself in and realized that, you know what, things are not necessarily ideal. And it's not ideal because I do think that being able to form community, a tribe, relationships of all kinds are important. That social aspect of our lives is very important. And I realized that I'm kind of a late bloomer because it just wasn't a focus of mine earlier in my life. And now I'm 25 years old. So it's definitely a bit of a late bloomer, but I haven't really had many meaningful relationships, not very many romantic relationships, especially more so like ones that are, very committed. And I don't necessarily advocate or want to find such a committed love relationship. But in terms of just relationships with women in general, overall, it's been minimal, in a way where it's not fulfilling. And so I'm talking with you now about this because, for one, I've done a lot of improvement. I've worked on myself a lot. And despite how I grew up, despite my earlier priorities of life, change is very much possible. Not just for me, but for others. And it's really not that big of a deal. And if you think it is a big deal in terms of your upbringing and where you came from and your early priorities of life, there's a time and season for everything. And right now is just as good as any other time to do what you want to do in terms of reaching new goals and new heights and coming to new peaks with great views. So, hence, I'm talking to you right now for those that are interested in learning more about my experience. Maybe it could help your experience. I hope it can, and I think it can. Ultimately, this video is just is me saying it's not that difficult. It really isn't. Like I said, I was as oddball of a guy as you can think. I still am. I think it's important for every guy to embrace their weirdness, which means every guy to embrace their identity, whatever their identity might be. So whoever the fuck you are, own that shit. And that's what I think ultimately should happen. A strong identity is very useful. But anyhow, in regards to becoming your best version, that is a big subject. There's so many points and within that subject to explore. And this video is mostly to capitalize on relationships. I am slowly, but very gradually, coming outside of my box in so many ways, whether it's learning how to dance, mostly swing dancing, but, actually coming out of my comfort zone, jumping into something new, and having a good time with other people, both women and men, and just learning how to be comfortable in those scenarios. Comfortable with direct approaching girls, comfortable with indirect approaching girls, comfortable with making new friends. It all comes down to comfortability, and what's happening in our subconscious is a big factor of how we relate on an everyday basis of life through our consciousness. So, really taking the time to tap not only in your consciousness, but how you can use your consciousness to help you come into your subconscious and overall make you a more powerful person that is in the present moment to the fullest capability. And I'm telling you right now that somebody once told me that a master of life is somebody who can fully channel their energy within the present moment. And I find that to be very true. And it's something that I've personally been working on a lot in so many different ways socially. And like I said, the focus of this is social skills. That is what we're talking about right now in regards to becoming your best version. And I just have to say that it's easier than you think. And like everything else, it takes reps, it takes time. But eventually you will catch on, and it's really just a part of the process. You know what makes a man a man? When that man has gone through a process, a man can become more built, can become more alpha. Yes, I like using the word alpha. If that turns you off, I'm sorry, can't help you with that, but I think it's good to use the dual word concept to portray what I'm trying to talk about. But every man can be born as a man, but a true man of what I'm trying to portray, of what I'm trying to hone in on in this video, is a man that can be their best version, their greatest version. You can call that alpha, and to get there requires ups and downs. You know how to know of let me rephrase that. Do you know how to really see and notice a very strong, good man? When you know that man is a good and strong man when you understand that that man has gone through ups and downs and cycles of life. Hence, an experienced man. A man has had the experience, has had the time, has the ups and downs, and has gone through all that shit to get to where they are now. So no man is born an alpha. It's a process. It's a calculation. And that's what I'm all about, because that is the message of becoming your best version. So have those rejections, have those ups and downs, and smile when the castles fall. Because life's really funny that way. I'll tell you what. Life's really funny that way. And that's all I have to say in this video. So, it's a very short video. I don't do this. My name's James. And all I wish and my goal, all of my intentions, particularly for doing this, is overall just enriching, motivating others, not because I've reached such peak, but because I'm in it with you. I'm in the process with you. We're not holding hands in the process, but I am speaking as of your brethren when it comes to the process of becoming your best version. And I hope we can kind of, build a community, a network. I'm all about, the tribe aspect and how powerful that really can be. And I'm just sharing myself. That's pretty much really what it comes down to. And I fucking hope I don't become famous, because that would be very strange. And I really don't care to have a public presence. But I am just a go-getter. And hence I am doing stuff like this to get out of my boundaries, get out of my zone, my comfort zones, and to just constantly get more out of life, um, in every capacity of becoming my best version. So I hope I can give value and thus receive value in return so I can build my life, build the life I want, and build the family that I want someday, and overall just have a good time. But this video is going to be the first video when it comes to relationships, and the purpose and the conclusion of this video is it's a damn process, man. So don't be so hard on yourself when it comes to understanding where you are in the process. If you're down in the fucking brutal worm crawling trenches that are not a great place to be in, well, just know that it's not going to last long, especially if you are an ambitious individual, because you'll fucking make sure that it's not going to last long. And that's the strength of your power, and hone in on that, because it's very true that the potential that we encompass far exceeds your expectations, and you can very much make that more and more into a reality. And I'm just telling you right now, let's just man up and keep doing the work, keep grinding away. And I really do believe that, and I really do that in my life. So hence I'm making this video, and well, whoever sees it, it's awesome that you have watched the video, and I'm glad you made it this far. This is pretty much all I have to deliver for today. But yeah, just know you don't have to be so hard on yourself, because I very much know that there's a lot of cases where I can be hard on myself, and eventually you kind of become more and more confident just by understanding your badassery that you have. And I think that's very important for a man to get into. Yeah, I'm all about men being stronger again. So that's a big subject, and I'm going to stop this video right now. Goodbye.